Hi everyone, hope you've been having a wonderful day. I'm sorry it took me forever and a bit to actually make a video today. I'm sorry I've been having quite a hectic day. You guys can't even imagine. I've been all over the place and dealing with so many things, but that's not your problem. So let's get to the things that you guys care about more. So regardless of me not being able to make the usual sort of updates as I usually do, those who are new and don't know what the hell Greg is talking about, Greg has his beautiful Discord, which you can, by the way, join via patreon.com/, as it says on the screen right there. Let's see. Actually, I think I'm usually being like super stupid and blocking half of the view. And now I'm going to be smart so everyone can see exactly what it is that I'm talking about. This is the beautiful Discord. As a patron, of course, you'll be exposed to my daily updates and information I bring to the community. For example, right now, since you'll see probably and figure out on the thumbnail, we're hyper focused on the Fed meeting today. But you know what? In all reality, we know what Trump wants. We know what JP does. And so that no change is definitely a probable possibility for today. That 375 will stay 375, and we're probably not going to see any change yet. Although with JP, nothing is certainly predictable or predictable with full certainty. JP may, appear and say, you know what, guys, the data that we've been watching in the last X, months to create more bad sentiment to Trump's administration is negative or in this or that other way, and that's why we maybe think that's a good time to cut cut rates more. So, right? So we don't really know what's going to be the deal right now, although it does seem to be a weird deal where JP is kind of tittering on the line, and on the one hand pretends almost as if he's trying to do the correct thing, the right thing that is needed to be done, and at the same time it's almost as if he is trying to do everything he can to sabotage this administration and the US economy for the time being. That's a long debate and argument, but that's the beauty of it all. We should not be sitting here and thinking, oh, I think JP is going to do that, or the Fed will decide on this, and that's how the market will interpret that. That's all bullshit, guys. All guys and girls, of course, ladies and gents, but let's tend to what is important, okay? That's the beauty of technicals. We know how to speculate on how we think today's FOMC meeting will be like, but rather we can see what the price action, rather the market, is adjusting or setting itself up for. So as we usually do, we skip the 1 minute because there's not much information there that will last for longer than maybe an hour at best. And given that how we have a handful of hours before we actually get to the market close, we have today, what do we have? We have Tesla, Microsoft, a whole bunch of stuff. What do we have? Actually, I know one of my beautiful, wonderful members mentioned exactly what we have here. Today we have Meta, right? We have Meta, Microsoft, Tesla, IBM. Academy meeting, very important. I do have an academy meeting with the members today, and we have the Fed. Absolutely, very correct. So let's look at how the market is setting itself up to behave. 30 minutes is probably the first time frame that we really pay attention to, and in all reality, if we're looking at this right now, it's inconclusive, arguably, and can play out in multiple different ways, and so we still need to go to the larger time frames. But objectively, right now, it's bearish with a very interesting pattern that we can see right here, sort of the playing out of the downward cycle, and arguably, I think we have completed it. Probably as a 5-point sort of course. And more so what we can see here is that can most probably be that we are testing currently this median of our short-term channel, and subsequently to that, if we'll continue with the downwards pressure, if we'll see more downwards pressure on the 45 minutes and the 1 hour, it will make total sense to expect the price action to go downwards this way, right? So let's see, 45 minutes. What are we seeing? Still very bearish momentum, so that is indicative, although we are seeing some potential confluence, convergence of the forces here. This is beautiful, though. The hourly is quite indicative that we are now looking at a bearish trend. In fact, now we're below the 50. If to be precise, we're at 17 and 40-ish, 39 if you will. Still can fluctuate up and down and still can have some entanglement right here or another confluence level in between. This will be more of a shallow internal correction, but on the grand scheme of things, the direction of this, and since it's the hour, it will probably last a little bit longer than just, the hour length. Again, if we can establish what is going to happen within the hour, potentially up to an hour, maybe even then some, from the 1 minute chart. So guess what? As it grows, so we can predict further out, given how longer these processes take, given the according time frame, basically. So here we're seeing actually something that is very indicative of a downtrend as well, although now we're bullish, over bullish, but we are seeing a very distinct confluence of the preparation for confluence, for convergence and divergence subsequently, giving way, of course, as I usually say, to our D here, becoming more bearish. Basically, once the forces converge on each other, cross, and we get our red line, which is our D, is represented by the letter D, right? That D will become dominant. Once the D is dominant and the K is recessive, K is the green line, basically the fast moving average and the slow moving average. And subsequently to that, we're basically going to be able to establish where the momentum turns around or turns over, spills over, if you will, whichever terminology you like more, and becomes a lot more bearish. By the way, before I continue, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, do all that beautiful stuff. Otherwise, I will send Baba Yaga to kill you. Yes, to hunt you down. I'm not talking about John Wick. I'm actually talking about Baba Yaga, like the old grandma from Russia. Like the scary lady. That's far scarier than just John Wick, But yeah, all jokes aside, weekly, we are still probably on confluence level here. We're arguably, although we're seeing kind of that back and forth, and we have become objectively bearish dominant. So it does appear that our momentum is shifting over back to the back end and more so becoming more bearish, subsequently giving way as further it goes into the bearish sort of continuation of that directional channel. We'll be able to see more and more sort of exponentially growing bearish behavior. Now, also, the most important thing, and since we are coming to a close, as we know, in 2 days, literally, we're having all these earnings, and yes, the market can be unpredictable, and actually, if we're already there just before, if it does happen, and then people say, oh, Greg, you're just kind of chiming into it, has already happened, then no. Well, first of all, our next very major support resistance level that is right above us, of course, will be that 7,368. In fact, arguably, we probably have another level that is roughly around, if I have to get, we are right now on this very strong level, probably, if I'm not mistaken. We're already in it. In fact, we're somewhat above, so we'll probably have here a very strong level that we need. That's the reason, actually, why we're having that behavior of entanglement and the revolutions of the price action around the single median and within a single channel, although it being horizontal, right? It's not really going, it basically is going to go sideways, pretty much, just to be precise, of course, with some inkling of upwards or downwards internally. And again, the same thing we've seen all along and we're warning about is that very same thing. So objectively speaking, it's not really interesting to look at the monthly nor the 3 months because these are not showing any significant changes. But if we're looking at these medium length behavior and directional momentum that is shifting over, it is quite indicative that we're definitely going to get a somewhat of a corrective measure, which can then bring us at least to that 5,000 level. Of course, as you can imagine, I don't mean that straightforward, not tomorrow. It will probably going to be a process of testing and retesting all the levels we have in between, among them the regular levels we have, and among them the levels we have on our continuous contract. So, and because we do have kind of they're not perfectly aligned, and there is that small margin of $10, so that may actually affect things quite significant. And since we are right now already in the continuous, and you guys know how much I love this tool, if you will, this device, and I can tell you that if we're looking at the very same time frames, we can see almost more of an indicative preparation, since these are the futures, and in some extent they are forward looking far more than the actual regular contract. And so actually here, objectively, we see a little bit more of an aggressive confluence of the forces than we saw on the weekly, right? The monthly does appear to be as if we're really having convergence. Like we're not, we don't have that little gap that we saw on the regular contract. Like for example, we're right now on the monthly, right? On the continuous, you can see the confluence of the forces is that tight. And if we now go to our regular contract, to our monthly, we're going to realize there's a little bit more of a gap between the forces right now, right? Kind of, we zoom in, we realize, although it's kind of hard to see, but it's there. That's how numbers work. And as you can tell, the margin between the two, the K and the D, is basically slightly larger, indicating that it may take just a little bit longer, just another day extra on top of what we're seeing on the continuous contract to actually cross over. And yeah, don't think that it crosses over and then just starts dropping, right? It's not going to cross over and immediately start dropping, or I mean, it can. Very unlikely. If anything, you're going to see this very gradual loss of momentum that eventually will lead to a more bearish sort of sentiment. And once we will cross that center line, which is our 50, right, on the stochastic RSI, we will see more and more. I mean, that movement itself towards the 50 and below the 50 will represent a very bearish price action and momentum. That's it, boys and girls. I mean, objectively, I will try, by the way, to make another video about Tesla. And maybe micro, I will see. I'll try to maybe make a video about some of the individual companies, talking about them and what their momentum is looking like, what the support and resistance levels are like, where we're at. Although with Tesla, it's not that difficult. We're still revolving around that 420. It's not that big of a secret. I mean, my community has known about this for quite a long time. We were prepared for this 420, I think, before it actually happened the first time around. And people were mocking the whole idea. I was like, it's going to stay on 420. And that's the funny thing. This is why I say, when people don't realize that the price revolving or acting up on a support, retesting a certain support or resistance level. And if you're going to be objective here, what you're going to realize, we are talking about that 420 level, literally. And in fact, if you want to see, I literally have it on my screen. That is that thinner line that you see, right? This one, you see that 420, it says 420. And as you can see, if we look closely enough, zoom in, right, and look at a smaller time frame, I'm going to recognize that the price action has respected this level over and over again. Yeah, for some of you it's more indicative, to some less, but remember, we can actually go far tighter, like so, and then when we are on the 1 minute time frame, guess what? It becomes irrefutable to how strong that support or resistance level is. For example, let me just kind of brag, right? You can literally see how clearly the market was testing that and nothing else, right? In this particular instance, right? Very, very accurate. 420, not even with the smallest margin, not even with a cent away, just 420 flat, right? Kind of interesting how the price action chose to behave, this way around that. But yes, when we get shallow movements, shallow volume, guess what? You will get this. You'll get shallow movements around the very same median. But when you get more volume, more, excessive news, more hype, more FOMO, guess what will happen? You will see the of course, there are various support and resistance levels that I don't necessarily have here, the more sort of internal levels that are smaller and less meaningful, but they are there and definitely being acknowledged. But if you look sort of outwards, you're going to realize that the market all along has been revolving around that 420 since the moment it established itself. But since we cannot go that far, I'm going to use 5 minutes to show you guys. Here it is. It's like, doesn't matter how far you'll go, you'll find clear evidence of support and resistance around that 420 level being highly efficient and holding the market at bay again and again and again. So as you can see, the market was, so the price action was revolving back and forth and almost doing this sort of snake-like wave pattern around the center line, which is a range on its own. It's roughly, as you can see, roughly between 414.50 and 420. Yeah, that's kind of it, boys and girls. I will try to make another video, like I said, if I'll be able to, before we get into the later time of the session. I have a meeting with my members and all sorts of stuff I need to plan out. And so I'm going to try and do my best, push out a little bit more content for you guys today, so you will be able to know my thoughts with regards to if it's Tesla, although we just gone through it, if it's Microsoft, yeah, all of them, all of the companies we have for today. Yeah, definitely. I hope you'll join us in the community, where we are going to talk about Meta, Microsoft, Tesla, IBM today, probably, inevitably. You also get to join in various, you get to see my charts that I post on a daily basis. By the way, now we separated it. A lot of people don't realize, but we have actually separated. And now I have a whole dedicated channel to my posting so they do not get swallowed or buried by other members and text and all that. It's just, efficient this way. Of course, you have the Academy partition. Boys and girls, in the Academy, there are only 2 spots available right now. Sign up right now or you will miss one of the best prices you'll have in a long time, because that price will be hiked. I'm sorry, it is what it is. It's just, I'm not going to waste our time on that, but it will be hiked eventually. Do not waste your opportunity. There's a limited amount of students I can take on every single time, because this is, one-on-one tutoring, sharing screen on Discord. We actually meet right here in the one-on-one channel, like you see me appear right there, and then me and the members hang out and we talk and I explain all the stuff, and we get to know, each other's perception on what the market is doing, right? As well, that actually happens on the auditorium. In the one-on-one, we do the teaching. Sorry, I mixed everything in. You have the Academy. I'm not going to talk too much about the Academy, because the Academy only the members of the Academy themselves get access to this. But there are plenty of very nice perks. Me, making videos for the community, although I definitely need to get back on that horse of community exclusives, although I've been doing them pretty much on a daily basis through posting content on the various channels. What is available to all of you people who want to understand the value of Greg's Academy? Even when you do become a Patreon, you then get access to testimonials, which then allows you in turn to see what students have already gone through the Academy. First of all, are able to achieve almost to 200K within a month. That's options trading, but still using my methodology and the various tools I taught my student. And various other comments from past students who are actually gone through the Academy. Not everyone makes a comment. I know it is what it is, right? I do try and ask, but I don't chase people down. But there are very nice comments here that will give you an idea of what the Academy is like and what it's worth. And like I said, actually, you want to get an idea of what the Academy is worth. The Academy is actually a 10,000 true value dollar Academy, okay? Course. And I am literally giving it away at 60% discount, guys. So do not think for a second it's expensive. And you can ask my students in the community, or I hope they will, of course, watch the video and will comment, watch this far and will comment to how dedicated I am to my students and how much effort I put in. I don't count, the sessions by the hour, by the minute, as much as I count how good of an effort I was able to do to teach my student what I'm aiming to teach them, to make them independent, be able to analyze the market the same way, the charts the same way I do, without needing me. Because, God forbid something happens to me, what? They're no longer independent? No, that's not the thing. By the way, some of you maybe want to know that, for example, some of my members recently, screw the plug trade. We've made decent profit on it. The lowest, I think, was 120% within a month. Of course, some of our members made higher percentages. I think the highest was roughly around the 300% ROI within a month. So, there are plenty of wonderful things we're doing as a community. Keep each other up to speed. Recently, my admin, Polinka, amazing lady, really smart, a student of mine as well. Well, not recently, actually quite a while back, she figured out using the analysis tools how silver is going to skyrocket. And she had confidence behind it because she understood the technical analysis shows these various cyclicalities and behaviors and allow you to actually predict into the future. And now when everybody else just starting to dip their toes and panicking that the market may correct and silver may break, which it is, guess what? She's now one of the people who's liquidating and basically probably going to ride it again sooner or later whenever the cycle will restabilize and continue in the very same direction, unless she's doing shorts as well in the time being, although I do not recommend doing that on an uptrend. Do not fight the market, okay? The trend is your friend. If the trend is going up, you want to be trading up. If the trend is going down, you want to be trading down. Remember, not financial advice. In fact, I don't recommend trading right at the moment at all, okay? It's too dangerous, but you do you. None of it is financial advice. It's just mere meandering thoughts of a crazy dude who did work for many years in the industry as an account manager. But still, I'm not in the position to tell you what to do. You are the responsible adult when it comes to your own account. I need to figure out what is the best course of action given the information I've given you here. Damn, that was a long tangent after I said it's over. I hope to see you in the community. You all have a wonderful day. Also, community, before I forget, last thing, this is discounted as well for 3 more days. The $30 tier is still discounted. Do not sign up for the academy this way, right? This is the worst way to sign up. Sign up to the academy directly through the Discord. Join the Patreon. Get in touch with me. Pay directly through the PayPal as a custom, and you will get to start right away instead of putting yourself on hold, not realizing these two tiers are kind of there only as a function for me to give people the correct roles I want to give them. So the only thing I want you to pay attention is to this role, get exposed to the community, get to learn what it is, participate in the meetings we have, see my posting every day, and then if you choose and realize that the academy is a good thing for you and you actually want to be independent, like the experts in the industry, like these market makers that you look at and you say, I wonder how they're able to do that. That's how. Technical analysis, boys and girls. That's it. I will see you on the next one. See you in the community. You'll have a wonderful day.